Hey everyone, I'm Daniel Hoffman, Zinel Executive Director at One Iowa Action, and I have here with me Keenan Crow, who is our Director of Policy and Advocacy, and they are our primary lobbyists who've been at the Capitol every day since session has begun, and we just completed second week of legislative session in 2019 and are gearing up for week 3 today. So Keenan, let's talk first about some of the things that are on our defensive side and what we've seen come up already so far in 2019.
Yeah, you may remember me talking a little bit about the lifetime sex offender registry bill and how that impacted folks that are living with HIV, particularly if they were living in a different state. Unlike Iowa, we just reformed and re-tiered our transmissible diseases statute, but not all the states around us have, and so there's some serious implications for those folks. That said, it hasn't been assigned to a subcommittee yet, and so I'm hoping that maybe it won't move. You just never know. We'll know closer to that first funnel whether or not this is going to be a priority. Aside from that, though, there haven't really been any bad bills yet that directly target the LGBTQ community. That's not saying they're not coming.
Right. Keyword yet.
but so far we haven't seen them. All the bills that we've seen that specifically are geared toward the LGBTQ community have been positive bills. And we've seen a number of those come out last week. So, for instance, there was a conversion therapy bill released last week. There was a transgender hate crimes bill released last week, both on the House side. Those both look very good. There's also a hepatitis C bill that came out on the Senate side that looks very good. This has to do with what's called pre-authorization, or the conditions that people have to meet before they get treatment. Right now, they're pretty onerous. It's pretty hard to get treatment until you're very, very sick, which means that those folks then may be transmitting the virus while they're not able to get treatment, and contributing to our hepatitis C rates here in this state. So we do think that removing that pre-auth criteria is good, and there is a bill in the Senate that seeks to do that. Another pretty good bill that we've seen is an anti-profiling bill, which we just had a subcommittee on last week. This would prevent police from engaging in racial profiling, certain pretextual stops and things like that. As I said, pretty supportive of this bill in general. The only change that we would like to see is adding gender identity and sexual orientation as protected characteristics. We know that people of color experience unique types of profiling that are tied to their gender identity or their sexual orientation, and that is best practice. And so I'm hopeful that we have somebody lined up to introduce that amendment, and once it comes out, we can let you know a little bit more, but that bill's looking good for the future, I think. The other big thing is the syringe exchange program bill, which we've been talking about for quite some time. It is now live in the Senate, and we will have a subcommittee on that today, Monday. We're really looking forward to that. I think it's got a pretty good shot. It is good public policy, and we're going to support it as much as we can, both at our lobby day, which is coming up, and the Iowa Harm Reduction Coalition lobby day.
How can people help get the word out, or what should people do to support this needle exchange syringe?
Absolutely. Bill? So first things first, contact your legislator. Let them know that you support this bill, right? This is a big deal. If you need help or you don't know who your legislator is or how to get in touch with them, please feel free to send me an email. It's Keenan@oneiowa.org, and we'll put that down on the bottom of the screen for you. But aside from that, go to those days on the Hill. So the Iowa Harm Reduction Coalition one was rescheduled due to a weather conflict, so it will now be Wednesday, February 13th at 3 p.m. up at the state capitol, if anybody's interested in that. And then our day on the Hill is going to be Wednesday, February 27th. That'll actually start at the State Historical Building with a training session. And
New location for us. Historical building this year.
And then we'll move from the historical building over to the Capitol and have a rally and talk to legislators. And that's going to be one of the topics we'll ask folks to talk about, and we'll make sure that you have all the information that you'll need to make that pitch.
Are there any other things that we've seen or that we're just watching that people should be aware of? that you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of other legislation out there. One thing that I didn't know was coming that I thought was great was Pam Yoakum's bill to gender neutralize the Iowa Constitution. I slammed the register for that bill as soon as I saw it come out because it's just a great piece of legislation. There are a couple of other things that we're monitoring. We went to a bill about state employee identification, which is super interesting the other day. But I think that bill is ultimately there to support victims of folks who have been wronged by a state employee, and so we probably won't touch that one. There's always stuff going on up there. There's always new bills released, and you can always check our registrations by going onto that lobbyist system, looking up One Iowa, and clicking through and seeing what we've declared on. But I think we're off to a pretty good start here. I'm feeling pretty confident right now. We are still anticipating some of that bad legislation that we've talked about in the past. We are expecting to see a RFRA. We are expecting to see a bathroom bill. But their chances are that's a completely different story. Just because a piece of legislation gets introduced does not mean that it's going to pass. It's an extremely hard task to pass a piece of legislation. So
well, Keenan will be there every day watching out for all of the bills, both on our proactive and defensive side, and we will keep you up to date as soon as things happen and when we want to engage you as much as we can throughout the process as well. But do check out the Iowa Harm Reduction Day on the Hill February 13th, and then also check out our Day on the Hill February 27th. You can go to Facebook, One Iowa Action's Facebook page, or to our website, oneiowaAction.org, and continue to stay engaged throughout the legislative session. We'll be back giving an update here probably in the next couple of weeks as well, so stay tuned.